Hi there, my name is Phil Walker, Editor-in-Chief of Wisden Cricket Monthly magazine. I'm joined here by the legendary Alex Hohenkerk, master bat maker at Gray-Nicolls. You've been here 16 years?
16 years, fast approaching 17 now, so.
Almost 17 years on the front line of the Gray-Nicolls project. Alex, why do you love cricket bats so much?
It's just become something that it's a bit all-consuming. I love the game. I've always loved the game. I grew up around village cricket. My dad was a village cricket groundsman. And it's become, I think, a part of me. I just love making cricket bats. I don't really know where that came from. I think a little bit of being able to work with a much older generation of workers here. I was trained by John Gasson, who worked here for 63 years. And watching the passion those guys had for cricket and the input and effect that has on cricket players and their game, I wanted to be part of that. And it's wonderful to make a product that you can see people using and enjoying. You know, it's great. So
there's an organic setup here, and there's an intimacy to it in that you essentially use machinery, but that you handcraft the bats ultimately, which might surprise people a little bit, because there's perhaps an assumption that Gray-Nicolls is this mass production firm, but there's a real kind of homogeny to it, right, and an honesty to it in the way that you put the stuff together, because you're an obsessive, right? Just like everyone else in this industry, it seems to me.
Obsessive is probably the right word. I think having that individual, that hands-on approach to everything, allowing you to change what that piece of wood is going to be, having that opportunity at every point, not just putting it on a machine and cracking out numbers, just allows you to make better and better product all the time. And I think that's one of the hard things with training people in this industry as well, is you've got to get people that buy into that scope of working too. So it's very much it's an industry, and it's a craft that finds people, and it might not necessarily be people you expect to fit, but it works.
So from the very start, in as whistle-stop a tour as possible, Gray-Nicolls plants its own trees.
Yes.
Takes 25 years for the tree to mature.
Roughly.
Give or take. You hope to get through a good tree 50 bats.
That would be nice, yeah. 40 to 50 bats.
40 to 50 bats. And the detail of the process from the felling of the tree to the stickering of the bat, how many stages are there? And try and describe them for us if you can.
I mean, I would probably put it around 15 or so stages that it's going to go through, different sets of hands, different levels of quality control to go from one point to the next, to the next, to the next. So you've got lots of people having input who've put time into learning what they do. And I think if you do it any less than that, try and do it any faster, you're going to miss big things. So you need to keep having checkpoints where the timber is reassessed, and time spent on them, not rushing a process, making sure if you're doing quality control, you take the time to assess a cleft and all its properties, not just what it looks like, but how the different, and if there are knots and marks and things, how they're going to affect the finished product. Taking the time with pressing, not just rushing the process through so you get through 100 pieces in a day. Actually, if you can press 20 really, really well, then press 20 really well. It's that sort of thing. And again, I think that's with the natural way of things being the organic way that we do things here, you are allowing that to happen, and that doesn't change. Whether it's us here in the UK, whether it's Gray-Nicolls Australia, Gray-Nicolls India, they're all working the same process that we do here. It's individual processes, a lot of hand work, so that people are paying that level of attention to the product.
And do you think that's because of what Gray-Nicolls stands for as a brand as well in the culture?
I think it's that fact that we are a brand that people want, people desire, and you don't want to be making product that people aren't interested in, and you've got to make product that matches up to the name that's on it. There's a huge heritage in the name, so the product has to stay there.
There's a bit of pressure on your shoulders, right?
It is a little bit. Sometimes you talk to people and they go, oh, my dad had these and my granddad had these and my uncle had these, and it's just like, and I now use them. And it's like, well, you want the people who buy them for the first time to have that same sort of experience, and ideally you want them to buy into the brand and stay with the brand. So
you deal with the players face to face, right? that relationship between brand bat maker and a Sam Billings or an Ollie Pope or a Harry Brook or a Tammy Beaumont, that's an integral part of the job, right?
It's really, really become that, I think. Players want that point of contact, and it's great being able to offer them a workshop here in the UK so they can come, they can talk to what's good, what's bad, what's worked, what's not worked, what they've seen that they want to try. So I think having that relationship with them so that they have some control of what's going on, they're not just being delivered a box of kit. It's like, actually, these are set up exactly, whether it's a unique handle shape or a very certain setup, or some players are really easy, some people have lists as long as their arm over what they need, but I think it's being able to offer that is important.
2829 is the industry standard now, and is that what most professional players tend to look? Male professional players? Male
professional players, I would say 2829, and I would say for a fair percentage 210s also work as an option. I mean, players generally, again, much fitter, much stronger. You know, there are very few players you're going to find the old-fashioned say people, they're opening the batting with a huge 2.6. They're not. They're using probably a fairly industry standard 2.9. It's big for its size. But that's in the finding the willow to support the player in their game. They want as much wood as they can get in their bat for the weight that they're happy to use. So
they want their cake and they want to eat it as well. so is that one of the big challenges for you then? Compressing that wood down to a manageable weight while retaining as much meat in the bones as possible.
Finding the compression comes from the density of the timber. So the first thing you've got to do is you've got to find the right density of wood. Once you find the right density of wood, the pressing process is actually much easier. It's lower density, it offers less resistance. What you've got to try not to do is overpress it. Overpress it, you're just going to over-harden the bat, and players are never going to want to use it. So there's a fine balance, but it's not a case of, you hear stories of people go, it's softly press. That's not a thing. A soft press isn't a thing. Getting a pressing process right so that you know that the whether you're testing with a mallet, with a ball, whatever it is your choice is to test it, you're getting that level of response that you know the player's going to enjoy. So that's the key thing. Find the density of wood, everything else then follows from there.
Can I ask you, from the customer's perspective, right? You know, if say parents are watching this and thinking about what kind of bats to buy for their kids, is one better than the other? Is a tight grain preferable to a wider grain, or is that a bit of a misnomer? Where do you stand on the properties of bats?
So if the advice I always give to people for buying bats, first of all, go and pick them up. Don't worry about what they look like. If you go to a shop, find a load of Gray-Nicolls bats, pick them all up. When you've got 2 or 3 that feel good in the hand, then start hitting them with a ball or a mallet and have a feel. And you can worry. I mean, some players, I've got players out there who use 15 grain bats. I've got international players that use 6.
Right.
It's all down to how the wood responds, and the wood is dictated. The way the wood responds is dictated by density, and density doesn't show. You can't see it on the front of the bat. Grain structure will show you that the timber's been looked after. It's from a good bit of tree. The less imperfections on it should mean the less issues it's had with pressing, so you're more likely to get a good bat out of it. It's not a hard and fast rule.
Also, naturally enough, as that's the case with all brands, there's a price grading system from grade 1 Willow down to grade 4-5 Willow. Is there a dramatic difference, do you think?
So you
can get good grade 2-3 bats.
You can get very good bats. You can get some astonishing grade 5 bats.
Yeah.
Where you've got to get it to match up as a bat maker is if we put a bat into our top end of our grade 1 wood. So let's say the Legend cricket bat. Yeah, it's one of the most beautiful cricket bats on the market.
I had one of those.
There are lots of pieces of wood that look like they should make a Legend, but there's only a very small portion that can actually make it, and that ties back. It's got to have the look, it's got to have the density, it's got to have the right moisture content, so it's got some lifespan, it's got to be pressed well. So we might only make 50 a year because we've only found 50 bits of wood that can do that job. So it's not a case of we're hiding them or giving them to the pros. It's like, literally, that is what it is. Do you see a difference? The higher end, or the higher end of the price scale, they tend to perform better a little quicker. The lower end of the price scale, you've got to put a bit more work in. they'll be a little bit more dense, so they'll be a little harder. That just a bit more.
Can you explain that then?
Yeah, so
you need to knock it in
yeah,
effect.
so effectively you're looking at more, you're more knocking in, more net sessions, and it will, over time, the fibres will open up and start playing better. But it's just one of those ones where you've got to invest a bit more time into it. The trade-off of that, the higher end, they go really well really quickly. They're harder to look after long term. A really good bat at a high price point will repair well, but you might only get a couple of repair seasons out of it, whereas something at a lower price range you can keep using, you can be able to keep repairing it, and it'll keep working. So
all right, finally, is this your vocation? Do you see this just playing out, and the business and the industry rolls along with you at the heart of it? Is that your dream?
I don't see me changing. I've fallen in love with making cricket bats. Wasn't the plan, it's what I do. I love it and want to be part of continually moving forward, past, present, future. Just keep going, make it better.
Brilliant. Thank you, Alex. You're a star. Cheers.